Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening as I clear my throat. Something found its way in there and didn't want to get out. But good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to SATAL 2021. This is going to be the last stream before the United States goes into the Thanksgiving holiday. I'm going to take tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, and then the weekend off, family, stuff like that. It's going to be, time to focus on family and be around family and all that jazz. So that's what's going on. But today is the last stream before that we get going into that. It's going to be a good one. It's the Eclipse Task Force taking on TAW in Diamond League 4v4. And it should be a great one. They always are. They're always great ones. I don't know why I say it should be a great one. They're always great ones. Always. Every time. They've been fantastic. Yesterday's, even though it was a little bit one-sided on Persian Gulf, was still a lot of fun. We'll have to see how this one goes. Jeff's will be making an appearance because it is Eclipse Task Force, and they love the Jeff. And there's nothing wrong with the Jeff. The SD-10 is a force to be reckoned with, and the person we need to watch, I think, is Eclipse Task Force Breeze. The defensive master. I mean, he is up there now with 343rd. What's his name? I can't think of his name. Why can't I think of his name? The guy from 340. Starry Fox 9. Thank you, Raptor. Breeze is moving himself up there with Starry Fox 9 and his ability to defeat incoming spam rams. So we're going to keep an eye on Breeze, see how he does in today's 4v4. I think last time we saw him was in a 6v6 against 14th VFS Samurais. Eclipse Task Force came out on top in that matchup, and Breeze again put on a defensive clinic. So I think he's going to be a man to watch in this one. Somebody from TAW, Spectrum and Frosty are usually pretty important characters for the TAW side, so keep an eye on them and what they can bring to the fight. Starry versus Breeze win. Just spam rams all around. 10 spam rams on a Hornet. Notch to the merge. Yeah, we should do that. I don't think they'll be wanting to do that, but we could, and I think it'd be cool to watch. But regardless, let's get into the match. TAW taking on Eclipse Task Force, Diamond League 4v4. Here we go. Here we are in the pit. TAW taking on Eclipse Task Force. This mission location looks like Maycop against Mineral Voti. This has been a very, very popular mission location this year. Teams seem to like it. I'm unsure if there's AWACS or not. I disabled them in the tracks, so I don't know if there was AWACS. Really, I don't care if there was any AWACS. We can check in the tracks. You guys can check in the tracks. But I disabled AWACS in the scripting for the tracks so that we don't have to see it. It doesn't impact the play for anything, doesn't matter. It's just what the people would see. And what disabling it allows us to do is the camera no longer jumps back to the AWACS, the OP aircraft of the AWACS. It doesn't jump there automatically anymore, it just jumps to another player aircraft, which I think is a lot more advantageous to you guys as viewers and to me as a streamer. So that's why they are disabled. Generic says beautiful shots. He's talking about the supercut that Alpha Whiskey put together. Man, Alpha Whiskey just continues to get better and better and better with these supercuts. I mean, phenomenal job coming from him repeatedly with these supercuts. Another note we need to talk about, or I need to bring up, is that there is going to be a dump of VODs on YouTube. So I got behind last week. Things came up in real life with me not being able to upload stuff. YouTube is being a pain in the butt. I have since gotten everything uploaded. There's 3 more uploading today. I don't think they've all been published. One has. It's probably going to go up tonight, Middle Eastern time, because Alpha Whiskey needs to fix some stuff or get the thumbnails up. Not fix some stuff, but get the thumbnails up. So that's going to happen. Be watching for those. If you guys are behind it all, they will go up on YouTube, and there will be a mess of them coming up. So just be aware that those are coming very, very soon. Let's bring up the overlay and bring up TAC View for our immersive needs. We've got dependent on having this overlay in TAC View, but before we do that, we actually need to take a look at who is flying in today's matchup. So, the Art of Warfare, or TAW, is being represented by Preacher, Frosty, Blaze, and Spectrum, and bucking the trend of what we typically see in DCS matches this year, and last year for that matter. All 8 teams, with the exception of Blaze and the 16. We don't see very many teams relying so heavily on the 18. It's very interesting. Usually it's 4 16s. Grim Reapers have taken 4 16s. They've taken 6 16s. We've seen multiple teams take a full lineup of 16s. We haven't really seen a team take this many Hornets, so that's something to watch out for. On the Eclipse Task Force side, ETF likes their Jeff. So we've got Breeze, Riker, Electro Bull, and Cookie. Breeze and Electro Bull in the Jeff, Riker in the F-14, and Cookie in the 18. So only 1 16 in today's matchup. Only one, which is entirely not normal at all. Only 1 16. We have more Jeffs in this matchup than we do the 16. We do have an F-14. We've been seeing a lot of F-14s. To answer some questions in chat, I am wondering is how do the teams know when to take off? So there is a countdown timer that exists. Change views here. There's a countdown timer that exists, and Bear and Sean have done a phenomenal job. And it counts down from 16 minutes. Once the first person spawns into the server and takes an aircraft, it starts counting down. Once it hits 0, teams are free to take off whether they're ready or not. And the reason that exists is because some teams were taking too long, up to 45 minutes to an hour to get ready. So this has allowed teams they are forced to be ready, and everybody has seemed to like it a lot since it's been implemented. Now you can override that and take longer if both teams agree. You can also, both teams can say they're ready, and the countdown will jump from wherever it's at down to 10 seconds, I think it is, down to 0, and then both teams are free to take off if they both give the ready as that. Are they flying on special servers? Yes. So these are dedicated DCS World Event servers that Sean and Bear have put in tons of time to automate so that teams can select their own server, go through a mission banning process, the servers restart on their own. It takes virtually no admin intervention to run and orchestrate. So Bear and Sean have done a phenomenal job in getting DCS World Events in SATAL to the point where it is today, and allowing teams a huge amount of autonomy, however I say that, to be able to run matches whenever they want. So one thing that separates SATAL from other events is teams can fly whenever they want, given a certain block. Instead of having a match scheduled and teams have to fly there, because matches in DCS are so internationally spread out, it's very difficult sometimes to get everybody together at one time. So we allow teams to fly matches within a 3 to 4 week block period. So we have 6 to 7 blocks, depending on what format they're in. And in that format, they can schedule, or in that block, they can schedule that block's match at any time. So that's what that is. Saw Hornet take off years ago. I only remember that it was really loud. So the Hornet howl, it's only supposed to take place, I think, at certain flyby parameters, but given that it's an iconic sound, the sound editors and the sound mod people, Echo 19, that have put this in here, it's just become part of the iconic sound of the Hornet virtually all the time. So that's what that sound is. It's coming from the Hornets, just so you know what that is. It's coming from the Hornets. The 16s kind of exhibit it to some extent, but it's definitely the Hornet howl is part of that. And it's much more noticeable at low speeds. Check to see if there's any other questions. So Stixer, yeah, it's a special server with a lot of scripting. Now the scripting has been done from the ground up. It doesn't not impart or impact server performance that we've seen at all. it was been done from the ground up, not utilizing anything like Moose or anything like that. So it's been phenomenal. There's our server performance is probably the best in the business as far as DCS is concerned. We can run, I think the most we've run so far is 10 matches simultaneously on one piece of hardware, on one box. So it's been, our capabilities have been phenomenal. And that it goes back to Bear and Sean and the work they put into making all of this possible. Quick shout outs to Monk for the sub and the bits, Raptor Dad for the bits, the Magical Fetus, what a name for the Prime sub, and then Spectrum coming back for 7 months. Thank you very much appreciated. These guys are coming together. There's more of that high bypass sound from the Hornet. And I think it's part of the Hornet engine, but you don't really hear it in real life, especially when they're in gate, because the sound's just overwhelming. Fire being blown out of their engine. Damn, Frosty and Spectrum are burning some fuel already. Yes, they are. So that everyone from TAW in the Hornets is taking 10 AMRAMs. They only have the center line. Preacher's been a little more nice to his fuel state, so I'll say that he's still on external fuel. For anybody that's just joining us again for the first time, the overlay is not going to start deteriorating. The colored bar is the fuel gauge, and it's not going to start dropping until they're on internal gas. If they're on external tanks, it's going to show full until they drop their tanks or until those tanks are empty and they're sucking down internal gas. Then it will start to drop. So Breeze in the JF-17, he is on internals. Spectrum, Frosty, they're on internals, and so is Preacher, and now I can see Cookies on it. So they're all on internal gas. Then you've got altitude, speed and Mach, gun ammo, and missiles remaining on their aircraft, going in actives, semi-actives, and heaters. So no one's taking semi-actives. That's why they all show as 0. Many are taking actives, lots. All the Hornets are taking 10 apiece. So the spam ram buses are real in today's matchup. The JF-17's taking its normal 4 and 2. Riker and the Tomcats taking the typical 6 and 2. And the F-16 is taking 6 and 0. I'm going to need the F-14 to climb. What is he at? F-14, 21,000 feet. What is that? What is that? Well, let's jump in. We got to take a look at how this is going to get going. Breeze is getting in here rather deep in the JF-17, and if he gets in here too close, or Frosty allows him to get too close, that SD-10 medium to high altitude, it'll wreck some shops. It'll tear your face off. And Breeze electing not to shoot, getting the missile warning from Frosty. We can see that on TAC view in the upper left corner. Missiles at Mach 3, now off a boost. Breeze immediately dives, goes into the notch, cuts his engine, no brakes out yet, but he's, instead of electing to turn around and go full cold, he's just going into the notch. Missiles 4 miles away, and it looks like he's going to have a pretty easy time defending this. AIM 54 now is going to be out from Riker. Here is that AIM 54 as it barrels in, and that AIM 120 onto Breeze is not tracking. So here's the AIM 54 off a boost. That's going to be onto Preacher's. Take a look at Preacher's defensive maneuvering going on so far. Oh, that is not Preacher. Here's Preacher. So Preacher going into the notch, engine idle, 60-some%, 10 AMRAMs on him. No one, with the exception of Frosty from TAW, has shot. And no one with the exception of Riker has shot. And I say that, and then Cookie decides, hey, Moltar, you're going to be wrong right now. And he launches a 120. That one looks like it's going to be on Breeze. So Breeze, or it's going to be on Blaze. Blaze then counters with a 120 of his own, and Blaze has dropped his center line so far. There goes Blaze's 120. There's the distant 120, 9 miles away, and that's not going to be a threat to Blaze at all. I would like to see him extend a little bit further into that. Missile still closing. Missile closing in on a Breeze. Breeze looks like he's going to notch it again. Going back to Breeze in the JF-17, he does notch it, loses track, and plows headlong into the Russian countryside right there. There it goes into the dirt. That thing is dead. SD-10 now out from Electro Bull. Here's that SD-10 as it comes in onto Spectrum. Spectrum defending. Going to have plenty of time. He launches a 120 up at Electro Bull. We'll put Electro Bull on the split screen so we can see him, but he's already cold, so I don't have a worry about Electro Bull getting hit by that AMRAM. Spectrum is very low. SD-10 is down to 900 knots, and it's going to get run into the ground, though this thing's getting closer than I thought it was going to. but it goes into the ground. Now Electro Bull, he did well at defending the 120, so he's okay. Up to the north, we've got a continual exchange of 120's missile coming into the Cookie. That's not going to track. Here is Frosty defending against a 120. It's no longer tracking. What I'm noticing in this matchup is everyone is low. Nobody's back to being high. Riker, I think, is the highest contact. Electro Bull with an SD-10 off from his jet, and that thing's going to be taken off towards Spectrum. And Spectrum got in a little bit deep, but again, the defensive prowess being shown by both teams is top-notch. There goes the SD-10. It doesn't track. AIM 54 picks up Spectrum, but then loses him, and I think it's actually, or picked up Spectrum, then losing him, and then picked up Preacher. Shortly after that, we could see the AIM 54 back there just coming off a boost. I just saw a missile come off of Spectrum. Spectrum's missile's going to be onto Riker. AIM 54 gets notched. Riker's going to have to defend this in the F-14. Preacher just launched a missile, so missiles coming off from every which way, and the teams are coming closer and closer together. Cookie now defending a 120 that's got some smash still on it. Cookie's launched a bunch of missiles so far. He's defeated that missile without too much of a problem. Banking back in, he's got 5 120s still left on his jet. He could jettison a rack if he wanted to. 3v2 up here to the north, 120 off from Cookie. That one looks like it's going to be on who's it going to be on? Looks like it's on Preacher, so that's not a bad shot. Another missile off. Preacher needs to put his flaps up, so Cookie's launched 2 missiles onto Preacher. Preacher responds with a missile of his own. We got him on split screen. Preacher looks like he's going to be able to notch the missile coming from Cookie. Cookie flew into a tree. The Cookie crumbled and is now in pieces. Tree jumped out of nowhere and went through his cockpit, and that is never something you want to happen. Electro Bull now defending in 120. That's going to be from Frosty. Nobody really electing to dive away from these missiles. I just saw Spectrum get away from an AIM 54. Nobody electing to go full egress away. They're electing to notch, which I really, really like. Shows the aggression from both these teams. So we've got Spectrum recommitting back in onto Electro Bull. Electro Bull, meanwhile, on camera 2, coming in head-on against Frosty. He launches an SD-10. Not sure who that one's going to be on. Looks like it's on Frosty. Is it on Frosty? 120 out from Spectrum. No, it's on Spectrum. And Spectrum gets into the notch. Lady's really low. Spectrum gets hammered. And then Electro Bull, at 120 coming from him, 0.5. Electro Bull's going to go down in the trade. No, that one was from Frosty, not from Spectrum. So great exchange there. ETF down to 2 and TAW down to 3. Riker, the F-14, coming in from the south. He's going to be barreling in onto Frosty. Meanwhile, up to the north, we have the defensive master and Breeze, putting these guys on split screen. Breeze on the left in the JF-17. Riker on the right in the F-14 Tomcat. Riker has got 1 AIM-54 and 2 AIM-9s. Breeze has 1 SD-10 and 2 AIM-9s, or 2 PL-5s left on his jet. Breeze getting ready. He launches an AIM-120 out onto Preacher. Preacher launches a 120 out onto him. Riker merging with Frosty. Frosty able to get away from that missile. AIM-9 out onto Frosty from Riker. Riker takes down Frosty. Now back up to Breeze. Breeze. Well, no, we're going to go back and look at Frosty, or Riker. Riker now coming head on onto Blaze. Blaze and Riker. AIM-120 out from Blaze onto Riker in the F-14. Riker electing not to respond. Doesn't put an AIM-54 out. 2 AIM-120s out from Riker. Riker trying to defend. Closest missile, half mile. Goodbye, Riker. First one takes him down, and the second one smashes into his jet. For good measure, now Breeze is head on with the contact very low. Looks like that's going to be Preacher. Preacher launches. No, he doesn't. So Preacher doesn't defend. There's a 120. Preacher defending. It's a PL-5. That gets spoofed. 120 gets notched from Breeze. Great job there. Breeze very slow, 175 knots. Immediately recommits in onto Preacher. So we've got a tough furball merge coming up here between Preacher and Breeze. Now going padlock on both of them. PL-5 out from Breeze. He's really slow, really low. Can he pull up out of this? No! But does Preacher go down? No, he doesn't. So Preacher driving Breeze into the ground. Great job by Preacher. asserting utter dominance over the defensive master of Breeze, and TAW takes it with 2 pilots remaining. Woo! What a round. Generic saying ground 2, plane 0. I mean, if we count the trees as part of the ground, then definitely. Garza ground OP. Dude, ground is so OP, it's not even funny. So let's see how this went. That was chaotic. Very chaotic. So we get started. Cookie gets... Tree just comes right out of nowhere on this recommit. He's having to defend 2 missiles. He was probably looking out of his cockpit at his helmet-mounted sighter down at his radar scope. And Tree just, whoop, came and plowed him. Ripped his aircraft in 2. Cookie goes down. Then we move down here to the south. Electrobull defends the 120. God, ETF is hugely aggressive. They don't go cold. They just notch and recommit. Electrobull launches the SD-10 onto Spectrum. He gets taken down. Then Electrobull gets immediately hit by Frosty. So now we're down to a 3v2. Riker able to put an AIM-9 into Frosty. And that was really unfortunate. Frosty may have been out of countermeasures. That's what I'm seeing here. May have been out of countermeasures. Because I don't see anything coming out. He spoofed that first AIM-9. The second one he did not. I'm sure he was looking at Riker, saw the AIM-9. He's like, crap, I don't have anything left. And just got taken down. Nothing you can do if you don't have any countermeasures and against an AIM-9 unless it runs out of energy. Riker then tries to recommit against Blaze. Commits through it. Tries to notch. Doesn't get in that perfect angle. 120 smacks him. So Blaze cements the Southern 2-ship victory. And then you've got the head-on pass between Breeze and Preacher. How does Preacher get out of this one? Oh, it's a PL5. It wasn't an SD-10. Oh, no. And Breeze gets pretty close to the notch. Oh, he does notch it. It goes into the ground. Breeze recommits, but look at Breeze's speed. He got so slow that the recommit, he just doesn't have enough juice. Gets away from the AIM-9, does he? Yeah, he does. He gets away from the AIM-9, and I don't think he would have gotten away from the second one had he not scraped the bottom, and Preacher's 20 mil would have ripped him in half. But man, how is the PL5 compared to the AIM-9? I think it's better, but it's smoked, so it's very easy to see. Very easy to see. That PL5 turned back on him? Did it? What was that? What is this? I don't think I've ever seen that. That is... Where's that thing going? Anyway. All right, so that's the end of round 1. He says, nothing wrong with the missile logic in this game. Well, I mean, it is a game, and it is very, very complex. So things are going to happen. Things are going to happen. It missed, and I don't know where it was going. Deca, check that one out. I don't know what the PL5 was doing. Can you make overall TAC view bigger scale so we can see the whole battlefield? What, MRAC, when do you mean? Do you mean like when everything's happening? Like when we're looking at the third-person cameras on the jets? Elaborate on that a little bit more. But we're going to move on to round 2. TAW taking on Eclipse Task Force. TAW's up 1-0. Send you guys back to the Supercut. And then about a 2-minute break. And then we'll be back for round 2 and see if Eclipse Task Force can equalize us and send us in to the all-important and the thing we love so much, round 3. We'll be back in just a minute. Back on the deck, TAW taking on Eclipse Task Force in a best of 3. TAW currently up 1-0 over ETF. They've switched sides. It is Mineral Vody against Maycop. 2 aircraft were remaining at the end of round 1 for TAW. And Breeze did very well defending against missiles. He just ran out of energy, can only defend so long, and even if he would have not hit the ground, Preacher, I think, would have decimated his Jeff with incoming 20 mil explosive rounds, and he would have been pieces, even more so than exploding onto the ground. So that was great defensive try by Breeze, but Preacher, flying the Hornet, had way more missiles, way more capability given that time because he had the more missiles, and was able to force Breeze and keep him on the defensive. And that camera's still paused, so we're gonna fix that one. Okay, there we go. So ETF taking off. They are now departing out of Mineral Vody. TAW was at out of Maycop. They've switched sides. TAW's Frosty and Spectrum leading the way in their Hornets, followed by Blaze and Preacher in the F-16, F-18 combo. Let's again take a look at the teams and who is representing who. TAW, the Art of Warfare, and those 3 F-18s, Preacher, Frosty, and Spectrum, and then Singleton F-16 of Blaze. And the F-18s, that's 30 AMRAAMs. 30 AMRAAMs on 3 jets. 30. That's 36 missiles if we include IR. That is a lot. A lot. So, as Sank and Ank says, you can go pew 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 a lot and still have plenty of missiles left. Karza says maximum AMRAAM. That's what it seems like, and TAW's making it work. So Eclipse Task Force got the 2 Jeffs, Breeze and Electrable. They've got 6. Riker has 8 missiles, and then Cookie has 10. So 18 plus 12 is 30. They got 32 missiles, okay? Yeah. TAW, on the other hand, has, how many does TAW have? 36 plus 6. They have 42. So they've got an extra, 10 missiles on their stuff? Weasel knees, does JF-17 get data link? They do, but it doesn't participate from what I remember in the link with the NATO jets, if I can remember right. I don't think it does. So for MRAC, would you rather me leave TAC view in this state, or do you want me to zoom in? Because I feel like when it's in this state, it's hard to see what's going on. And if you guys really want an in-the-ground, in-the-weeds view, I highly suggest you go get TAC view for yourself and get TAC view advanced, then you can drive everything using remote telemetry. You can log in, ask Streamlabs bot for TAC view. TAC view information, you connect to my PC, you drive your own TAC view instance, and it's phenomenal. So if you guys have TAC view advanced, I highly suggest you do that. These guys are coming together. Electro Bull leading the way for Eclipse Task Force. Spectrum leading the way down to the south with Frosty in those 2 F-18s. K2 base, is it really stopped in real time? Or you just show the stop scene or whatever? So how this works is we're actually streaming from tracks. This match took place 3 weeks ago. And the reason we do it this way is because it allows teams to not be forced onto my streaming schedule and allows us to get around streaming issues and connection issues and stuff that we may have. So that's why we do it this way. It allows me to do a better job of streaming, and it allows more flexibility from the teams participating. So these are tracks. Now, since you asked that question, a lot of people do. You wouldn't know unless I told you that these are tracks, right? Nobody would know. So these are tracks. They're the server tracks, so they are showing exactly what happened. It is an AI playback of inputs that are done in the mission. So it is a play-by-play of what actually took place in the round or in the mission file. Server tracks are accurate down to virtually the T. I have never seen a server track not work. Player tracks, on the other hand, don't work a lot. But server tracks work fairly well. Spectrum and Frosty now separating up in the front. Two F-18s, Preacher and Blaze also separating in the back. Electrobull 30,000 feet in the JF-17. Still leading the way over Mach 1 for Eclipse Task Force. He's flying with Breeze on his wing. Here's that two-ship in the Jeff. Guys are continuing to ingress. Separation between the two teams. Electrobull and Breeze are 45 miles away from Spectrum and Frosty. TAW has moved into a box formation with the lone F-16 being flown by Blaze in the southeastern corner. Electrobull and Breeze now separating. Looks like into their own box formation. Both these guys moving away from one another. TAW, most of their guys with the exception of Blaze, who's probably carrying 3 bags, on internal gas. The F-18s are going to be on internals. Eclipse Task Force is just now with Breeze coming on internals. Both Breeze and Electrobull over Mach 1. Dice, I think a big part of that was the scripts. I don't think that was the server track. That was the scripts during playback. If we went and watched the server track on its own without the scripts, it would have been fine. A big part of that, though, was me learning how it all worked, and I made some mistakes when I was setting it up. Why are they descending? Because the AMRAAMs right now are poo-poo. 29 miles now separating these guys. Electrobull recommitting along with Breeze. Spectrum being the closest, maybe a missile off here shortly from Electrobull onto Spectrum because he is in the JF-17. The ST-10s are going to have some range. F-14 is going to be way back here behind Electrobull. There's the F-14. About 40 miles away from Spectrum. Electrobull with a slight left offset, now turning in head-on against Spectrum. 17 miles now separate them. Missile now out from Spectrum. Spectrum diving away. 9 AMRAAMs still on that AMRAAM bus. No ST-10s out from Electrobull yet. Electrobull elects just to go into the defensive and split S's and dives away. He was still a bit at a medium altitude, so he had the altitude to split S. No worries there. 120 now out from Frosty. That one's going to be on a Breeze, and Breeze is a little bit lower than Electrobull was. He's obliquing down to the right, going straight into the notch, electing not to split S and go full egress. 120 still coming. 120's 4 miles away. Looks like it's not tracking anymore. Falls underneath his jet. Riker just launched an AIM-54. Here's that AIM-54. It is a Mark 60. Climbing up through 23,000 feet and still going up. passing its teammate Electro Bull. Electro Bull's recommitted. So AIM 54, not sure who the target is. Looks like it may be Preacher. I think it is Preacher. Here's Preacher on split screen, diving in the Hornet. AIM 54 is coming down from altitude, now at 13,000 feet, 5 miles away from Preacher in the F-18. Preacher, I think, realizes, hey, I can out-energy this. Now it's not closing on me any longer. Missile's already down to 1,000 knots, now 800. Lost track of him, and it is totally dead. So no factor there any longer on the AIM 54 from Riker. Breeze now recommitting down to the south, trying to bring something in his Jeff. Still all the missiles still on his wings. Preacher coming in, trying to make something happen against Breeze, putting him on split screen. Preacher on the right, Breeze on the left. No missile on Breeze yet. He's just going into a permanent notch. Preacher gets really close to a tree. Preacher's broken away. 120 now, out from Frosty. That's going to be on to Breeze. Breeze defending immediately into the notch. Here's the split screen between the missile and Breeze defending. 3 miles now. Missile tracking. No, into the ground it goes. So Breeze continues to do a phenomenal job of defending these incoming AMRAAMs. Riker now launching a close-range AIM 54. That's going to be up to the north, and it's going to be on Spectrum. Taking a look at Spectrum, we can see the AIM 54. It's going to be a Mark 60. Spectrum already in the notch. Riker defending against the 120 coming for him, but it's not going to be able to catch him, as it's going to be pretty slow. Still watching the Mark 60. Just came off boost. Oh, it got pretty close to Spectrum, but not a factor as he had balls to come in against this one. Electro Bull now defending against the 120. Diving, trying to get a little bit lower. Missile detonates behind him. Preacher defending the FC-10. He did a great job there. Electro Bull, again, immediately recommitting back into Blaze. Can we see Electro Bull behind Blaze? Yes, we can. He's 9 miles back. Electro Bull now coming off of Blaze and in onto Preacher. 120 now out from Spectrum onto Riker, and Riker puts another AIM 54 out on the Spectrum. Can we see that AIM 54? There it is. So there's the AIM 54. It went to the ground. Preacher launches a missile. That one's going to be on. I can't tell. It looks like it's going to be on the Riker. And we got one coming in on Electro Bull. Electro Bull's got a 120 coming for him. And Electro Bull's a little bit high, medium altitude, 6,000 feet. AMRAAM at 2 miles. He's a bit high co-altitude to be able to notch this. I don't think he gets away from it. Closing. 0.6, 0.5. He does notch it. It goes underneath his jet. Great defensive move by Electro Bull to get away from that and waste no time. Recommitting against Preacher. Putting Preacher on the other screen. Here's the split screen between these two. Preacher on the right. Electro Bull on the left. Padlock between the two. ST-10 from Electro Bull. 120 from Preacher. The ST-10 came out late. Is this going to be a trade? Oh, no. Electro Bull gets taken down, and Preacher lives. So Preacher able to live to fight another day. Great job by him, but he's got Riker coming in on his 6. Here's Riker, just unleashed in Mark 60, on to Preacher, and Preacher needs to defend a third AIM 54, and this one's going to be, it's really close. Not notching it yet, not yet. Oh, just went to the ground, right behind Preacher's jet. Did he make a mistake? No, he's still in the air. I thought he may have gone into the ground. Oh, another tree comes out of nowhere. Much like Cookie in round 1, Preacher takes the toothpick to the face and is gone. So we're again equal, 3 apiece in this round. Trees just jumping out at everyone, ladies and gentlemen. Spectrum now coming in onto Riker. Riker, 4 miles away. 120 out from Spectrum. He's still got 2 left on his jet. We can see the missiles closing onto Riker. Right screen. We'll just tunnel vision onto Riker. AMRAAMs are a mile back. Spectrum is 4 miles back. Needs to close. 650 knots indicated for Riker. 640 knots for Spectrum. So the F-14 is outrunning him. But that AMRAAM's jogging. Riker's turning. He may be trying to recommit. And he's increasing the closure rate for Spectrum. Spectrum's got 2 AMRAMs left, now 1. AMRAM out from Spectrum, 1 mile away from Riker, and it connects. Riker gets taken down. Great shot there, and we're going to pause because I think there's something else going on down here to the south, and this 2V. So Blaze has got a shot onto... Ooh, this one. Cookie's got an AMRAM really close to him. Half mile away. And Cookie, I think, is in deep, deep doo-doo as this thing closes. Let's pick up the action right here. Here it comes. Half mile, face mile. Goodbye, Cookie. He's gone. Again, the Cookie crumbles, and Breeze is the only one left. No, yes, Breeze in a 1v3, flying low, all alone. Blaze coming in from the right, 4.5 miles away. Breeze electing to recommit in onto Blaze. 3 miles now. No missiles out from Blaze. Blaze might not have. No, he does. Off aspect SD10 from Breeze. Is he going to be able to notch it? Yes. And oh my gosh, did you see that SD10 pull up at the last moment? Take down Blaze. So Breeze defends the SD10 and annihilates Blaze in the F-16. 120 now out from Frosty. On to Breeze. Breeze goes into the notch. Does he have any countermeasures left? No chaff from him. Does he need any? No. Missile misses him. Breeze still alive. Frosty's turned around. Frosty looking to recommit with Spectrum. Spectrum coming in from the north. So Breeze, head on with Spectrum. Low altitude. Weed level. Spectrum, 8,000 feet. Frosty still cold. Ten miles separate Spectrum and Breeze. Head on. Spectrum's got 120 left. Breeze has no SD-10s. PL5 out from 6 miles for Breeze, trying to get the sneaky PL5. It goes into the ground. 120 out from Spectrum, on to Breeze, 2.5 miles away. 1.5, 1 mile. Breeze trying to notch. Does he do it? Yes. Detonates underneath him. Breeze continues to put on a clinic defensively, now merging with Spectrum 5 miles away. PL5, last missile out from Breeze, on to Spectrum. Spectrum launches an AIM-9. Both ghost missiles. Are they going to see him? AIM-9, 1.5 miles. He's recommitting into the unseen AIM-9. Half mile, 0.2. Goodbye, Breeze. The sneaky AIM-9 takes down Breeze. Last missile from Spectrum. No, second to last, domes Breeze and gives TAW the Art of Warfare the win. Taking a quick look at the TAC view, then we're actually going to bring Spectrum in here to talk to him for a few minutes, then I have to go rapidly. But things just seem pretty even. Breeze did a great job there at the end, 1v3. Spectrum and Preacher do a phenomenal job in the north, though Preacher gets hammered. Preacher did a great job defending multiple AIM-54s, just succumbed to the third one. Riker actually launched a fourth one, but it missed, and Spectrum ends up running him down. And then we've got a 2v2 down here to the south. Blaze and Frosty able to come out on top of that one. Breeze then dominates Blaze with his SD-10, pulling up at the last minute. And then Frosty puts Breeze on the defensive. Frosty goes cold. Then we get this merge between Breeze and Spectrum with the sneaky AIM-9s. And that is all she wrote. Guys, I actually have to go. I don't even have time for the interview, so I apologize for that, but I have to go. I have to help my mom with some real estate, so I will see you guys next time. Next stream will be Monday, 1600 Zulu. Be watching for a tweet to see who is going to be streaming, but until then, I'm sorry for just ditching out. I do have to go. My mother needs some help. Until then, guys, stay safe in those virtual skies, and I'll catch you guys later. Have a good one.